Temperature today is 2 degrees. Wind chill is below 0. Not exactly balmy weather, but inside the Carrier Dome, it's a very comfortable 77 degrees, and we're ready for a shootout. Florida State and Syracuse. A great ACC women's hoops matchup today. Florida State and Syracuse. Before we get going, let's head inside the Syracuse locker room and listen to Coach Quentin Hillsman.
Everything tough we got to get. We got to expect it. I expect it. We prepared like crazy. You got to expect it. It's going to be bump. We know that. All right, but that's how we like it. We like it grimy. So you guys got to mix it up and play. Push tempo. Let's get our press set. Let's seal traps, let's run through, let's turn it over, and let's create offense, all right? We got to play hard. Every open shot, let's knock it down. Play tough. We got to bump it there, all right? Let's go.
And I think we're all ready to go. Hi, folks. Mike Hogwood here, along with Kelly Dale. Great to have you with us for ACC Women's Hoops. You saw the intense look on those players' faces. I think we could have a high-scoring shootout today.
And what a great opportunity for Syracuse. You got the 11th ranked team on your home floor where you haven't lost yet this season. Florida State, an outstanding offensive team. They also lead this league in rebounding, so watch out, Syracuse.
Hey, and what makes these teams go? The point guard. Ironically, both of them wear number 4.
Well, for Florida State, you've got the graduate transfer, A.J. Alex from TCU. She is the assist-to-turnover ratio leader in the ACC, positive 3.0. She does it all for the Seminoles. Great passer, can take it out in transition, and an excellent defender. The only player in the ACC that makes more assists than she does, right there, Tiana Mungakahia, 10.3 a game, best for first in the nation. But how about 44 points against Georgia Tech the other night? She had 8 assists in that game. She can score from all places, hits the long ball from outside, but she is best when she goes to the rack.
Both of these teams have a number of players who can flat out light it up, and I think that's what's going to make this game so fun today. Mark Hardcastle, Daryl Humphrey, Timothy Bryant, our officials, and we are underway. Syracuse in their home white, but it's Florida State with the opening possession. They go right inside to their senior center, Shatrice White. She can't hit it.
Well, that's the advantage for Florida State today. Their inside game. They have a lot of height in there. Shatrice White, an excellent inside player.
Great shot blocker. Good pass inside off the out-of-bounds play, and Shakayla Thomas, who's averaging 19 a game, gets the first bucket of the game.
No surprise there. Coming off that inbounds pass, wide open. I'm just surprised Syracuse didn't find her.
Oh, speaking of wide open, that's Amaya Finkley, one of those great freshmen inside.
Amaya Finkley is a player I want to keep my eye on in this game. She is playing big inside, but she's definitely playing like a freshman. We need her to step up.
Both these teams can shoot the 3. Maya Finkley, 6'4" freshman, looked awfully good last trip down. Here's Mungakahia. Again, she wears number 4. Great playmaker and a great shooter. Boy, nice cut to the bucket. And that's Miranda Drummond, redshirt junior.
There's a lot of movements on the Syracuse offense, and a great job by Finkley to find the cutter down the middle.
Monty Wright and Shaquilla Thomas are two great scorers. Good hustle by Emma Degbion to come down with it for Florida State.
Offensive rebounds, an area where Florida State is best in the ACC, #1 on O boards.
Boy, both of these teams have been running their offense to perfection.
That's what you want to see in the early going as well. When you feel like you've got somebody that's playing good defense, you know that it's going to take a while to find the open looks. And both these teams, as you mentioned, being very patient.
And an offensive foul called will go the other way.
How about the pass right there by Finkley? She's a little bit outside. Nice cut down the middle. And almost like a mirror image, the same exact play happens for the nice layup inside for Florida State.
Monty Wright scored last time down for the Seminoles. That's good news. She had to miss the game on Thursday against Clemson due to illness. But 1 week ago, Wright, who wears number 32, had 8 3-pointers. Here's Shaquilla Thomas, doesn't get the roll. You mentioned these teams want to go inside. They do it again. That's Finkley, who's fouled on the turnaround. Really like the look of this 6'4" freshman.
Oh, my gosh, she's tremendous. Has great size, good hands. I think it's going to be a matter for her of being able to understand her role. She's a freshman starting on a team that is, you know, just a couple years ago was in the national championship game. So that is a lot on her shoulders. But I am interested in that matchup right there. They've got Shaquilla Thomas playing behind Finkley. So I would imagine they're going to try to enter that post as often as they can.
Nasha Wolfolk into the game, as you see, for Florida State. You talk about Finkley now. Thursday night here, Syracuse beat Georgia Tech 88-77, and in that game, Finkley scored only 4 points and fouled out.
Well, and that's what I mean by she's playing like a freshman. You know, some games she had 18 against Coastal Carolina, and then, you know, you say, as you mentioned, did not score a lot last game, and I think that's just an area where she needs to become a little bit more consistent on the offensive end.
Nikki Ikomu just came into the game and wasted no time in getting a bucket. Neither team been able to knock down a 3 yet, and both teams are pretty good at it. Oh. Well, that was Nasha Wolfolk, the sophomore.
Wolfolk coming off a great game herself. She had a career-high 18 points in that game against Clemson. Obviously, the starting lineup was a little bit different. Ikamu got the start in place of the sick Amani Wright, and so some players got to step up. We saw, Wolfolk 18 and Wilkinson with 14 in that game.
Inside and one. That's a strong move by Miranda Drummond. Thomas Kelly just picked up her second foul.
Well, that's going to be big for Florida State. But how many shots have we seen inside that paint? Both teams are not doing a great job of keeping those offensive players outside the lane, and those are going to be easy buckets.
Three on the board for Miranda Drummond. What a great defensive play by Isis Young, just into the game for Syracuse. Here comes Ikomu for Florida State. Both teams, Kelly, really playing hard on defense. Another steal. That's Magahia and... number of great passes inside to Raven Fox.
Beautiful look there by Drummond. That was quite a pace that we endured for the last couple seconds there, up and down, both these teams, and a lot of full court pressure. I think both teams are just trying to hurry up the other, get that offense moving.
Neither team has hit a 3. Florida State's 0 for 4. Syracuse has only taken 1.
Which surprises me. They lead the league in threes attempted per game. They actually shoot 46 of their shots come from the three-point line.
But not so far in this first quarter. Following up her shot is Ikomo. She's made a difference off the bench. Got 4 points. And Florida State is going to take a timeout after that three-pointer.
Great shot from outside. The first three-point shot to fall. Drummond gets that one. Here's the drive, the pass up ahead in transition. Drummond finds Fox inside for the nice layup. And then how about the outside shot fallen for Syracuse? Florida State needs a timeout.
That's their first three of the day.
Your front.
You say... And it's not a bad one at nationally ranked Texas. And they've got Wright and Thomas who can really fill it up. There's Syracuse. Their losses have also not been bad ones, all to ranked teams. The Florida State turnover. Mungakahia with it.
Syracuse has been picking up in that full court pressure this entire game, trying to force those turnovers. And they've been successful.
Look at Mungakahia fight for the ball. She still has not scored in the game. Drummond has 8.
Syracuse back in their 2-3 zone.
And whistle for the foul is going to be Isis Young. That'll be her first. Jasmine Dwaji is in for the first time for Syracuse. Britton Hilsman has gone fairly deep on his bench here in this first quarter.
Yeah, he doesn't play a whole lot of players. He's about 7 players deep, but they're getting a lot of time as A.J. Alex misses that 3.
She's missed her first couple of shots. And a mishandle and a turnover by Isis Young.
Some uncharacteristic early turnovers for Florida State. And again, you've got to credit that defense.
But this is ACC play. Florida State comes in 2-0. Syracuse 1-2. They lost last Sunday to Virginia. They also lost to Notre Dame and beat Georgia Tech on Thursday. Florida State has beaten Clemson and North Carolina. They beat North Carolina 1 week ago by 38. And one by Amaya Finkley, the 6'4" freshman.
And how about the play of your point guard finding the big inside? Mungakahia, nation's leader in assists, finds Finkley, who finishes with the foul.
Averages a little over 10 assists a game. That's incredible.
And she is just fun to watch. Mike, I watched a lot of tape on her these last few days, and I mean, the ball goes through, the offense goes through her. She's got the ball in her hands about 80% of the time.
You know what, Kelly? It's listed that she's a transfer from Hutchinson Junior College. She never played there.
Yeah.
She went there for 2 years and never got eligible. So really, this is her first basketball in 2 seasons.
Which says a lot, the fact that she's been able to make this kind of impact so early on in her career. And she, by the way, is a 23-year-old sophomore with 2 years after this left of eligibility. Can you imagine that for Quentin Hilsman?
It's good news for Quentin, considering
Absolutely.
his recruiting class.
Yeah.
Had a great class last year. He's got another good one coming in.
Number 2 in the nation last year, number 11 coming in. He's waiting for people to be eligible off the transfer.
Yeah, the future's bright here at Syracuse, and so far it's been bright today. Boy, Florida State has gone ice cold. They've missed their last couple of shots. They're 0 for 5 from 3.
You know, as you said early on in this game, they were running their offense through. I think what we've seen lately is taking shots outside the offense, jumpers in the middle of the three-point line instead of in the paint like that. Amadebian, beautiful look.
They are 4 for 16 here in this first quarter. That is 27%.
I love the post feed. So consistent, trying to get the ball inside to Finkley, and she's doing a good job of finding shooters on the outside.
You talk about Florida State and their lack of offense in this first quarter. This is a team that averages 87 points a game, and they are really struggling to score here in this first period.
Yeah, definitely not the offensive output we expected in this game.
Nawaji, a nice drive, and she's fouled. What a year it's been for Florida State offensively. They lead in points at 87, second in field goal percentage. Free throw percentage, they're number 2. But it has not been the story today. And a 26-point scoring margin.
Yeah, they don't just beat teams, they destroy teams. They had a huge win against UNC where they scored over 100 points. I mean, that's the kind of offense that we're used to seeing. So this is interesting. I don't know if you say they're just cold, or is Syracuse just playing such great D?
That might be it. Last Sunday, they beat North Carolina 103 to 65. That's the largest margin ever. Game against the Tar Heels.
This is a team, Mike, we haven't even mentioned it, just loaded with seniors. Sue Semrau has got to be so excited about what could come in this year for this particular team.
Boy, the lid is still on it, as Syracuse now has opened up a double-digit lead for the first time. Shalane Bailey is in, and again, Quentin Hillsman gone deep on his bench today. There's a 3. Jasmine Nawaji.
Syracuse wise to make the extra pass to the corner to find Nawaji wide open on the 3.
Syracuse has scored 10 unanswered points.
Right here, 44 home. Wait, 44.
So here's the offense, and the nice no-look pass by Stroutmana finds the shooter in the corner, Nawaji. Another three-point look for Syracuse.
And the threes are coming from people you don't expect them to come from.
Right, exactly.
Drummond, Nawaji.
Mungakahia has yet to hit a 3 outside, although that's not necessarily her game. She's best going to the rim. In fact, she only shoots about 25% from 3, but she sure likes to take them.
Mungakahia has not scored in this game, and you mentioned she's coming off 44 points.
I was curious to see how she would kind of come after that huge career night.
Well, it really speaks to Syracuse's depth that without Mungakahia, they have now opened up this lead. And my goodness. That's a held ball, possession arrow to Florida State. Kelly, you've seen a lot of games too, and there just sometimes is a time, particularly on the road, when that basket looks really small.
And it's not for a lack of trying. Florida State was early into the Carrier Dome, 8 o'clock this morning at shoot-around, so they were trying to get some shots up, get a good feel. But there we go. Finally, an outside shot falls.
5th point for Amani Wright. Well, they're glad to have her back in the lineup today.
She's a game changer for Florida State because so much focus is put on Shaquilla Thomas and what she can do, but you add somebody like Amani Wright and then A.J. Alex, I mean, that's tough to guard.
Wright had 33 points a week ago. She's the co-player of the week in the ACC.
And there's the pass, and just a late defensive effort there by Syracuse, and Wright able to score over the outstretched arm.
And it broke a long drought. Another held ball, this time the arrow to Syracuse. There's Amani Wright. Last 2 games she has been outstanding offensively. 8 threes. That was the school single game record 1 week ago.
And you've got to think that Mungakahia could have put herself into the conversation for another player of the week this
Look
year.
at Drummond. What a first half Miranda Drummond is having.
Miranda Drummond used to lead this team in scoring just a couple games ago. Well, she is showing us her offensive output.
She's in double figures now. Drummond has 10 points. Well, the lid just got a little bigger for Florida State. Wright's got a couple.
Sometimes that's all you need as a shooter, to watch it go through the hoop.
And they get the turnover. Mungakahia still has not scored in this first quarter. As we approach the end of the quarter. And momentum starting to swing a little bit back the other way as Florida State has cut this lead now into single digits. Shakayla Thomas is playing with 2 fouls. She's back into the game.
And Coach Sue, I think that's what the benefit of having a senior like Shakayla Thomas on your team. You know she's going to be smart. She's not going to put herself into a situation to pick up that 3rd foul and take a seat for the remainder of the half.
And they need her. They're going to need her points to win today. It can't just be the points coming from Wright.
Yeah, right now they've had a couple long balls go. They've had some inside. Now they need kind of that mid-range game, which is exactly what Shakayla Thomas brings.
Getting those couple of threes was big. And here's Thomas just off the bench. Got 4 points right at the end of the quarter. Well, it's an interesting quarter. Syracuse took a double-digit lead, but Florida State's hit a couple of threes to fight back. We thought we were going to have a good game. Well, we got one. Headed to quarter number 2 in just a moment.
In my experience, yo.
NBA Saturday Primetime begins January 20th on ABC.
What time is it?
Saturday
Prime time.
Yo, the league is stacked from front to back with cats who make the net snap and backboards crack.
For old school fans to new advanced stats, the fact of the matter is Saturday where it's at.
Yep, prime time, yeah, the stars align to shine and grind and drop dimes and blow your mind. Every name making it rain is the best in the game. You're witnessing the future of the Hall of Fame.
It's prime time.
NBA Saturday Primetime begins January 20th on ABC, presented by YouTube TV.
Syracuse had a 13-point lead at one point in that first half, and you see the shooting numbers from 3, which are really not good for either team. But Syracuse opened up that double-digit lead before Florida State hit some threes.
Mungakahia has yet to score, but she's doing what she does best, which is distribute the ball to the open player. Nice pass to Drummond, and she finds Fox inside for that layup. And then the outside long ball finally starting to go for both teams.
Florida State ended the quarter on an 11-2 run, which really knocked out that 13-point lead. Inside, great pass, and the bucket by White.
Mike, we saw that initial play about the first or second scenario of this game, but we haven't seen that again. And I love that Florida State went back to trying to get the ball inside to Shatrice White.
Mungakahia, who has done so many different things than score in this first half.
Beautiful box out there by Florida State.
Florida State scores here. They'll make this a one-possession game. And it's A.J. Alex. Alex has not scored. She's 0 for 4.
3 starters for both teams are at 0 in the point column. It says a lot for the other players. They're stepping up, but
I'll tell you who's not at 0, and that's Imani Wright. She's starting to get hot. Wright is now with 8 points. Check that. Make that 10 for Wright. Maybe more here. Good rebound and a strong move by Shatrice White to the bucket.
We talked about the inside looks for Florida State. How about the post up there for Shatrice White? Excellent job finishing inside. And then again, outside, nice jumper. She gets that one to fall. Imani Wright, 10 points already in the game.
Shatrice White, when she misses a free throw, that's a story. She's 84% from the line, which, if you're a big and you're 6'3" inside, to be a great free throw shooter is really an added plus.
Absolutely. She is a player that's consistent just about everywhere on the floor.
Oh, how about that? She missed 2 of them and
got her own rebound. And then they called her for a travel.
Not a positive possession for Shatrice White.
Finkley picked up that foul on that last possession against White, and I think that was key because when Syracuse has Finkley in the game, I think that inside really gets clogged up. Now they're with a much smaller lineup. We'll see how Florida State takes advantage on the next possession.
Drummond, she's been the big scorer in this first half. Inside strong move, but missing it is Digma Strautmana from Latvia. And that pass to Degbion, her foot was on the inline. There's Quentin Hilsman in his 12th season. What a great job he's done building a program. We've talked about it, the recruiting class he had last year. 4 new starters this season. Gabby Cooper can't hit the 3.
Yeah, he's a coach that kids like to play for. You know, I think he's a player's coach. He identifies with them. As you see, Shaquilla Thomas, nice little jumper inside. She is so good on that turnaround.
Shaquilla Thomas, the reigning ACC Player of the Year. And another great pass. That is Drummond on the receiving end. And Drummond now with 12 points.
That was a beautiful dish by Mungakahia. I think she had that layup, but that's where you see the consummate point guard always looking for the best shot, and she found Drummond.
How about Drummond with almost half of Syracuse's points?
So Mungakahia, 44 points in her last game against Georgia Tech. She's sitting at 0 today, but that doesn't matter when she's making passes like that. How about the drive, but the beautiful dish by number 4.
A complete player, and again, what's amazing is she hasn't played really any organized basketball for 2 seasons before this year. Inside, and White is called for traveling. Some more numbers on Tiana. Leads the league, as we've talked about, in assists. 9 double-doubles, and those are points and assists double-doubles. The last one, player in the league, I remember who was great at that, was Christy Tolliver at Maryland.
Yeah, she's all over those record books. She has 10-plus assist games already this season. Obviously, she's a kid from Australia, has had a ton of international experience. She's 23, as we mentioned, and Coach Q just can't say enough about her impact on this team as a leader, both on the floor and off.
And she plays a lot of minutes, Kelly. She's 4th in the league in minutes played.
I mean, he's got a lot of confidence in her, and you see that when she's playing in this game. You can tell that she's running the show, and Coach Q has talked a lot about the fact that he feels confident with her out there. He doesn't have to do a lot of coaching.
Strautmana had the ball knocked out of her hand. Savannah Wilkinson, outstanding freshman for Florida State, back into the game. She's from London, England.
A lot of international flair
in this game. You're right. We have a lot of international players, and one of them with the ball right now.
And sometimes that means we spend a lot of time with the SIDs trying to figure out pronunciations, Mike.
Yeah, we've been saying Tiana's name a lot today. Mungakahia.
I coached a lot of Lithuanian kids, and that was always interesting.
Wilkinson just into the game is fouled, and that's going to be the second foul on Digna Stratmana.
Wilkinson is a player. She averages 2 points a game, 2.4 points. But in that game that they just played against Clemson, she came in and had 14 points. Her career high before that was just 7.
And she had 4 threes. She was 4 for 5 from behind the arc. And that free throw, that was her first free throw of the season. What? That she just left short.
Well, you can tell she's not a player that attacks the basket much. She loves to sit outside and hit those threes.
That was her first made free throw of the season. All of a sudden, we've got a 2-point game. Syracuse has led by as many as 13.
I think you've got to think Mungakahia is going to start picking up her offensive game here in just a bit.
That's another great pass. And it results in the 3 from Gabby Cooper, her first bucket.
I've been waiting for Gabby Cooper to get on the scoring column. She is a player. She's taken the most threes on this team, 121. That make that 122 this season.
Averages just over 11 a game. So she's been an important scorer. Good drive by Imani Wright. She's fouled.
Mungakahia gets yet another assist. How about this? You drive in, draw those defenders, and that's how you're going to get your shooters wide open in the corner. Good look by the sophomore.
Foul was on Gabby Cooper. That's her first. And Imani Wright missed the Clemson game with illness, showing no signs of that today. Just a 65% free throw shooter.
Sue Summerhouse said it happened so quickly. She was in practice and all of a sudden just started to get some excruciating pain. And, you know, they determined pretty quickly that she was not going to be able to travel to Clemson.
Wright missed them both. Wright is in double figures today, and she's been in double figures all but one game. There's Sue Summerhouse in her 21st season. Hard to believe she's been at Florida State 21 years, but they've been 21 successful seasons. Been to the NCAA tournament 12 of the last 13 years. National Coach of the Year 2015. Sue Summerhouse, all-time winningest coach in Florida State history.
She's just such a great recruiter, Mike. She continues to get great kids out of high school. She's getting transfers who want to come play for her.
4-time HCC Coach of the Year, more than any other active coach. And you talk about recruiting, I got to tell this story. One recruit she lost, Kelly Dale. Kelly Seaman back in the day, but you were recruited by Sue Summerhouse.
That's right. She was an assistant at the University of Wisconsin with Jane Albright, a fantastic head coach. And it was, I almost went to Wisconsin just because of my relationship with Sue Summerhouse. And I ended up going to Notre Dame, had a great career, but I'll tell you what, that woman knows how to build relationships, and I think that's what she's done with her players.
She talked before the game. She says, I still remember you won a national championship with a cast on your hand. 4:56 to play here in the second quarter, and Florida State has come back and made this a game again. 3 points, Syracuse lead.
Prime time, yeah, the stars align to shine and grind and drop dimes and blow your mind. Every man making it rain is the best in the game. You witnessing the future of the Hall of Fame.
It's prime.
NBA Saturday Primetime begins January 20th on ABC.
What time is it?
Saturday
Prime time.
NBA Saturday Primetime begins January 20th on ABC.
Carrier Dome. We've been talking a lot about Tiana Mungakahia. 44 points in her last game, but today she's been putting on a clinic, passing the ball, finding the open players in transition, getting easy looks, driving into the paint, kicking outside for shots.
She's a calming factor. She really is. I've probably had to coach her less than I've had to coach anybody else on our team because she understands what's going on. She's a natural point guard and just a pure leader.
And she's right on schedule. 4 assists already. She averages 10, so pretty much right at her average here in the first half.
And I love what Q just said about his point guard. I think when your coach has a tremendous amount of trust in the point guard, you kind of get to breathe a sigh of relief. You know you don't have to coach the rest of the team as much, and I always think, that's the best kind of team to be coaching.
How about the defense, the double team? And that was Mungakahia on the D. Watch number 4 come into your picture, and she got that tie-up.
Well, we've talked about her assists, but she's also 4th in the conference in steals because she's got hands like that. Great double team in the trap.
Both teams have gone a little cold offensively. Here's Thomas. Tomu can't hit it.
Degbian working hard inside. She is actually the player that tipped the ball in order to secure that offensive rebound, but taking up a lot of space inside.
Florida State, we talked about them, number 2 in the league in free throw shooting. They've been anything but like that in this first half. 3 for 8. That is not the norm for these Seminoles. Degbian is just a 56% free throw shooter at the line.
And Coach Sue is going to look at that stat at halftime and address that with her kids. These are points that they need against a team like Syracuse, who's scrappy. They don't give up a lot very easily. As we've mentioned, it's been difficult for anybody to find an open look. Shooting 35% right now for the game.
Degbian had a good game on Thursday against Clemson, 8.7 rebounds. That's her first point here today. Drive and kick, and another missed three. Neither team, Kelly, has been able to hit threes in this first half.
Well, and what's interesting is both teams playing a lot of zone, which you would expect would open up that three-point line. But as you mentioned, that cover has been on.
3 for 14 for Syracuse from behind the arc in the first half.
And Syracuse attempts 30 a game.
Well, they're on track to do that.
Yeah.
But they lead the league in made threes per game, and they're not on track to do that.
That's right, 9. A little over 9 a game. Not enough movement on the offense for Syracuse against this zone.
And I think Florida State's going to be sagging back a little bit until Syracuse able to hit some of those threes. A.J. Alex commits the Valor first, and you know it's got to be frustrating for Quentin Hillsman. In fact, his team, which they've done all year, hit threes, not able to do it today.
We haven't talked a lot about the fact that not only does Mungakahia do a great job in assists, she also struggles with turning the ball over. She is not a player necessarily that has a low amount of turnovers.
Yeah, a week ago she had 12 turnovers in a game they lost last Sunday to Virginia.
But what Hugh said about that when we asked him, he said she just needs to shoot more. So, you know, it's interesting to see that she has not necessarily seen herself as an offensive threat. She just has one shot attempt.
And has not scored.
Nice move inside around those defenders. And as a post player, when you've got a guard like that, you've got to be ready at all times.
Yeah, it really didn't look like Drummond was expecting or ready for that pass. Amani Wright. Well, she can also rebound. Monkakahia down with it. Well, that gets the lid off, and who else? Miranda Drummond, who's having perhaps her best first half of the season.
But even the way Monkakahia settled inside that paint for just a second, making it seem like she might take it to the rim, opened up Drummond on the outside. First
points today for Florida State's point guard, A.J. Alex, who is a transfer from TCU, a graduate student. She's a graduate transfer, so was eligible immediately to play.
Oh.
Good move, but the rebound down by Degbion.
I love seeing a post player who can look one way, see it's not open, and turn the other.
How about Alex? A.J. Alex, 2 trips down and 4 points.
2 back-to-back shots inside that paint. She's doing a good job of attacking the defense and finding the gaps.
Under 2 minutes to go now here in the first half. A.J. Alex, we talked about her at the beginning of the broadcast. She can be a difference maker.
Well, she averages over 12 points a game, but she has been able to score from that spot twice in a row, driving into the paint, getting nice little floaters over the defense.
And after being down by 13 points, Florida State scores here. They'll take the lead. They last led 2-0. And a big comeback for the Seminoles, and they lead. The 3 from Woolfolk. Only a 27% three-point shooter, but nailed it. And momentum has definitely swung in the way of the Seminoles here towards the end of the second quarter.
Oh. They're going to call the offensive foul on that one. Great defensive stop there by Monkakahia. Here's the drive and the dish. Finding the shooter outside, and Florida State back on top.
That was just their third 3 of the first half. They're 3 for 11 from behind the arc with just over a minute to go. Boy, it's Syracuse's turn to go cold towards the end of this first half.
What I liked about that possession, Mike, is you hear how much the defense is talking. You're hearing it again on this side of the floor. Syracuse calling out players, calling out cuts.
Six seconds to shoot it.
Quentin Hillsman also getting into the action on being loud from the sideline. Got to appreciate that.
Foul was on Degbion. That was her first foul, and so Syracuse could have the last possession here of this first half. These are 2 really good offenses, but have been negated a bit, I think, by great defensive play on both teams.
Both teams playing the majority of this game in a zone.
And neither team really consistent from 3. Here's Drummond. That great first half continues. Right at the buzzer, Drummond gives Syracuse the lead, 34-33. What a half she had.
Monkakahia gets her 6th assist. Nice little pass to Drummond, who found herself open off the screen. Really not even a screen at all, just kind of stepped back, and somehow Monkakahia found her open.
And we've got Quentin Hillsman with us quickly. Quentin, Miranda Drummond has over half your points. She's got 18. Wow, she has really come to play today.
Yeah, she is. She's getting some good overlooks, and she got to continue to be aggressive. I thought she passed up 2 or 3 shots that she had, so I ran that last set for her. Just hopefully we can keep her going.
What do you have to do to get Mungakahia going offensively?
Well, she got to be aggressive. She has some shots. They're going under screens, and they're kind of diving into the elbow on her drive, so she got to be aggressive and shoot the ball.
You guys have done a good job of holding some big players for Florida State. What are you guys doing defensively?
Well, we're trying to be there. We're trying to get matched up. We're trying to give them easy looks, so whenever they get a catch, we're going to be there with enough room to contest and play the drive.
Thank you, Q. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
We expected a close game today. Well, we've got it. Syracuse led 1 by 13, now up by 1. We've got another good ACC battle today, and we'll talk about that when we come back to Syracuse.
Did you?
Welcome back in. College Basketball Live, sitting here with a few ACC coaches. There's one first-time head coach in this group, David Padgett. When some assistants, most assistants get a head coaching job, it happens in April. You got yours in October. How would you assess the challenges of getting your team ready for the season in the preseason?
I don't know if we have enough time to talk about the challenges we've faced, but, you know, the good news about the team I inherited, we have a very good mix of older players who've played college basketball, seniors, juniors, even a sophomore in VJ King, and we have a very talented freshman class. Obviously, they're freshmen. There's a lot they need to learn and go through, and there's no easy way to get freshman experience except to let them go through it. But our older guys have been tremendous in trying to help the younger guys and get ready for the season. So just each practice, we're just trying to get better than we were the day before.
You had a little more lead time when you stepped over from an assistant to replacing John Calipari there at Memphis. What advice would you give him stepping in, although the time frame is a little bit different?
No, David's going to do a great job, and he's a basketball guy, and his dad was a really good coach as well too, and so he's going to do great. And you know, they're good. Their team's really good, and you know, following, you know, with Coach Pitino, and you know, when I took over at Memphis following Coach Calipari, it's just they're hard to do because you know the success that you're following in both guys. So you just do the best you can.
It was a primary head coaching job there at Memphis. You're just getting started. Mike, reflect on what it was. You're at the pinnacle now, the coaching in the ACC. Reflect to your first head coaching job when you slid into that chair and had that ownership. Maybe an overwhelming feeling. What was that like?
I think it was. I remember my first year at the University of Delaware in 1995. I wasn't very trusting of delegating. I tried to do everything and a little too much. I've learned to delegate more. But I think the biggest thing is you try to be yourself. You know, you've worked for a guy, you've been with a head coach. I think to develop your own identity and be yourself, as soon as you can get confident doing that's going to be helpful.
Jim? What was that like?
My first head coaching job was at a Division II school called American International College in Springfield, Massachusetts. And recruiting there was very, very difficult. But we spotted a young man I thought could really turn our program around. His name is Rick Carlisle. And we tried to recruit Rick Carlisle to a Division II school. 2 years later, I was the assistant at Virginia, and Rick called me. He was playing at the University of Maine, and he transferred to Virginia, helped us get to the Final Four, now has been in the NBA since 1984. So when you're looking at players and trying to build a program, you got to find good players. Rick was a good player. We just couldn't get him to AIC.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are. You might be someplace soon that you can actually get him. Buzz, your first head coaching job, what was that like?
I remember it vividly. Very honored, grateful, bigger than any dream I'd ever had. Was very thankful that the University of New Orleans would hire me, and have felt that way every day over the last 11 years.
Brad?
Yeah, I was very blessed. I took over at UNC Wilmington, having been an assistant there for 8 years under a very good coach in Jerry Wainwright. So the program was in a great situation. We had good players coming back, a good foundation. We'd been to the tournament. And so really the ease of transition for me was much easier than most, in that I already knew the league, I knew the university, and Coach Wainwright had given me a ton of responsibility. So that really gave me a lot of confidence.
You mentioned getting to the NCAA tournament, and when you're at maybe a lower level or a mid-major school, it's getting to the tournament's a great accomplishment. When you're in the ACC, it's not just getting to the tournament, it's making a run. You could have a great year, maybe even win a championship, in the league, but you don't get to the second weekend, and it's almost forgettable in some fans' eyes. How do you guys self-assess when it comes to success relative to the NCAA tournament, whether it's getting there or advancing deep?
Well, for me, I mean, I've tried to be better just about your own personal success and what you define it as. I think my time at Memphis, I was really unhealthy mentally, and just because I lived and died by every single game, and so when I came to Georgia Tech, I tried to have a better perspective on things, and it's a work in progress. It's hard to get to the tournament. I mean, I thought we had a good year last year, and we finished 11th place in this league. And I mean, and we had 8 wins in the league. I don't know if we'll ever get 8 wins again in this league. I mean, it's hard to do. And so, you know, if you just do the best you can, I've tried to be better about that and focusing on just doing the best you can and let the chips fall where they fall.
Now, as a player, obviously, you want to get as deep as you can. What about as a coach? He said when he started out, he didn't have a healthy perspective. You're just starting out. What's your perspective?
Well, I think at Louisville, it's just been long established that getting to the tournament per se isn't enough. I think making a deep run has come to be expected over the last 15, 16 years, and obviously we've had a lot of success. Now, I'm not going to put any pressure on myself or on my team to say, hey, we have to get to the Elite Eight or we have to get to the Final Four, because that's just not realistic. You know, everything we've been going through, me as a first-time head coach, that wouldn't be fair to anybody. So we're just trying to have as good of a season as we can have, win as many games as we can have, kind of just break up into 3 segments. You got non-conference, you've got conference, and then postseason. So just taking one segment at a time.
How does that change as you get deeper into your career? Because when we refer to you guys, it's how many Final Fours does he have? How many national championships?
Well, that dynamic happened a little bit this year for us. The 2 previous years we've been to the Elite Eight. We get knocked out in the second round by a very good West Virginia team, but we finished in the top 4 of the regular season and got to the championship game of the ACC tournament. And so I was trying to tell our guys that, you know, we had a pretty good run, and even it was even harder trying to explain that to my fans, but maybe they finally got it at the end of the day.
What about you made a deep run with George Mason, now here at Miami?
Yeah, 20 years ago, I had an incredible opportunity to talk to the great John Wooden, who won 10 national championships. And he talked about one thing that you had to have to be successful as a coach. And he said you have to have balance. You have to have the understanding of what your expectations are, maybe very different than what anybody else is. And you just have to have that balance in your life, balance with your team, so that you're enjoying the journey. Not so much talking about, did you make the Final Four? So, and that's the way we've tried to approach it. We just want to be the best we can be every season we're competing.
Last thing, Buzz, it's validation, though, right? I mean, NCAA tournament, that's a thing you can sink your teeth into.
I think it just depends on what validation and who you're wanting the validation from. Not trying to be holier than thou. I like playing in the NCAA tournament because that means I have an extended period of time with our players each day. And so whether we win, whether we get there, I think that's for other people to judge. I think my responsibility as a leader is to help them grow to be the best people they can be, and if that means we play a couple extra games, maybe that time period helps them even more.
And Brad, you've had a taste of it there at Clemson.
Yeah, we haven't been in a while, and certainly something that we want to get back to. We talk a lot about, playing in March with a chance to advance. That's kind of a phrase we use to kind of keep our momentum going, and I think it's something that you put the NCAA tournament out there. It's not as easy at some programs. It's more of a challenge, and certainly you analyze each team and just try to get better working on that with that thought in mind for us.
Okay. Good perspective, guys. We'll wrap it up when we return. These guys have left quite a mark on their teams. What about the digital footprint, social media? Get into that for a few minutes now.
All right, let's start with your health.
Yeah.
You're 70, and a lot of people want to ask how much longer do you want to go?
Do you want to ask that?
Yeah, I'm going to ask that. I'm going to ask you, how much longer do you want to go?
Yeah, I didn't get my knee replaced to retire. Let's put it that way. So I'm 70 years old. I think I'm definitely younger at heart. I have the knowledge, though, of a 70-year-old who's coached for 42 years and has coached 11 years with the U.S. team. And I think that's a good combination, especially at a great school. I want to make a difference. I'm enthusiastic. Come on, Kyle, I got you.
Grayson Allen, when describing you, called you a friend.
Yeah.
which is interesting for a 21-year-old to call a 70-year-old a friend. How do you think you've been able to connect with players these days and change and be able to adapt?
Well, I think it's up to the teacher to adapt so that his or her teachings are accepted easier by their pupils. I've had to adapt a lot. Not values, work ethic, and all that, but how you communicate, how you dress, what jokes you tell, do you stay current?
Grayson Allen is a really good basketball player. He also appears to be a dirty basketball player.
Well, his reputation for this precedes him.
What gives you confidence that Grayson, if you have confidence, that Grayson has kind of gotten past the issues, the tripping issues?
Well, you know, look, is it more tripping issues or what everyone made of a couple issues? I want Grayson to be Grayson. Grayson's, I think, as good a player as there is in the country. And I want him to be a leader, and I want him to not have a rear-view mirror.
How much did you worry about him last year, though, because of all the public outcry and the attention that he got? How much were you worried that he'd be able to handle it all?
You would have thought that there was a capital offense that had occurred. That's the attention, I think, that our program brings, the scrutiny, and you have to learn to live under that microscope. But he has had an opportunity to be in incredible situations where you don't play at the beginning of your freshman year. You are the hero of the national championship game. You're an All-American as a sophomore, and you have an incident, and then that's unbelievably publicized. And then you have another situation, and then you're hurt the whole year. Holy mackerel. He's lived a lifetime in those 3 years, and I think it'll all end up really, really good.
How good can this team be? I mean, you have talent, you've got bigs. They're very different than a lot of your previous teams.
Yeah, our team is going to be very much a developing team. We have 3 guys in Marvin Bagley, Wendell Carter, and Marquise Bolden who are going to be pro players, maybe all 3 of them at the end of this year. We don't have the perimeter depth that we, like the last few years, but we have more big guys. And so we have to adjust what we do, and which we do every year.
Has your outlook of recruiting one that's changed? People think it has.
No. Everyone talks about us changing our recruiting philosophy. That's not the case. It's just that Grant Hill was in the mid-'90s or early '90s. If Grant Hill was today, he'd go too. But we would have still recruited Grant Hill. Leitner and Battier, and that's when it started for us with Elton Brand, but he was even here 2 years. I have not changed. The landscape has changed to where it would be the best decision for them to go, and then I'm okay with that.
What time is it?
Saturday.
Prime time.
Yo, the league is stacked from front to back with cats who make the net snap and backboards crack.
From old school fans to new advanced fast, the fact of the matter is Saturday's where it's at.
Yep, prime time, yeah, the stars align to shine and grind and drop dimes and blow your mind. Every name making it rain is the best in the game. You witnessing the future of the Hall of Fame.
It's prime time.
NBA Saturday Prime Time begins January 20th on ABC, presented by YouTube TV.
The stage is set. The Dogs determined for their day. The Tide out to defend the dynasty. Georgia, Alabama. The national championship presented by AT&T tomorrow at 8 on ESPN.
The NBA on ESPN. Basketball battle. Select your character. The Brody. Cat. Wednesday at 8 on ESPN.
What What time is it?
Saturday.
Prime time.
Yo, the league is stacked from front to back with cats who make the net snap and backboards crack.
From old school fans to new advanced fast, the fact of the matter is Saturday's where it's at.
Yep. Prime time, yeah, the stars align to shine and grind and drop dimes and blow your mind. Every name making it rain is the best in the game. You witnessing the future of the Hall of Fame.
It's prime time.
NBA Saturday Prime Time begins January 20th on ABC, presented by YouTube TV.
Young sophomore played well in that first half for Syracuse. We told you about Miranda Drummond and her 18 points. Maya Finkley, the 6'4" freshman, played well, had 7. Neither team shot the ball well from 3. Florida State 3 for 11. Syracuse just 5 for 20. And I think an interesting stat, Kelly, is the rebounding. Florida State is +7 on the boards, and I think that's another big reason they were able to come back.
Well, it's such a big part of their philosophy. Coach Sue drills that every day in practice. She wants her kids to go hard for those boards, and they're leading the ACC in rebounds. They have a +13 advantage on the boards. They've only been out-rebounded twice so far this season. Once against JMU by 2, and then Texas by 14, their only loss of the season.
Seminoles with the first possession here in the third quarter. A.J. Alex had a couple of buckets and starts off the second half and gives Florida State the lead back.
So interesting that is her third make right at about that same spot. She's finding the gaps in that zone and able to find open looks.
I really think it's such a plus when you have a player who can hit that mid-range jump shot.
Exactly, especially when it's your point guard, because she's getting in there trying to draw the D. But if she can't find anybody that's open, go ahead and take that shot on your own.
And an early turnover by Syracuse.
You know, Coach Q came over before this game and said he didn't want a lot of turnovers and he wanted to rebound. And I think that they've struggled in the turnover.
I want to make a point. Shakayla Thomas just came into the game. That's her old role, sixth player. She was sixth player of the year first 2 years. And, well, she, I guess, less than a minute comes in off the bench for Florida State.
And maybe Sue just sending a message right there. She only had 6 points in that first half. Sue needs her to be a player that makes a difference on the offensive end, and maybe she just needs a little bit of a talking to.
How about Digna Stromina, the 6'2" freshman? Her first points, and it's a 3.
And that's indicative of a lot of those players as Mangakahia comes up with the steal.
Still has not scored. Well, the three's starting to fall a little bit. Gabby Cooper, that's her second 3 of the game. Syracuse up 5. Mangakahia down with it.
Syracuse, this is a team that doesn't take a lot of 2-point shots. They live and die by that 3-point line. And Digma Strautmana able to get that shot to fall. And how about Sue Semrau? Not too pleased with her defensive effort getting out on that baseline.
On a wide open Shakayla Thomas.
And that was just too easy for Florida State. Syracuse, I thought, has done a good job of that full court pressure, but you can't let Shakayla Thomas, one of the best players in the country, get open looks like that.
Syracuse was 5 for 20 from 3 in the first half. They're 2 for 3 here in the second. And a turnover by Maya Finkley.
Mike, in that first half, they shot 32 threes, 32 shots, 20 were threes. But let's take a look at Shakayla Thomas, last season ACC Player of the Year, second among active ACC players in points scored. She is rewriting record books.
Wright can't hit it. Thomas the rebound. And you know what? Sitting on the bench for a minute might have been a good thing, because Thomas now with 4 points here in the second half, and she'll go to the line.
She's saying, I hear what you're telling me, Coach Stu. I will make an impact. Go after those rebounds and go ahead and score with the foul.
Thomas averaging almost 19 points a game. Third all-time in scoring at Florida State. The Seminoles, #2 free throw shooting team in the league, have not been able to make them today. Here's Cooper again.
Oh, that looked like it was on point.
Mongakahia still has not scored. Rebound to Syracuse, and here comes the league's leading assist maker.
And how about the hustle for Florida State?
How about the pass by Imani Wright to Nasha Wolfuck?
I mean, that was just an effort play right there. It looked like it was going to be just a turnover for Syracuse, out of bounds Florida State ball, but the hustle by Florida State to come up with it.
Wolfuck has played a really solid game today. A great pass by A.J. Alex. Boy, we've got two good point guards here today. 6:14 to play, third quarter. Both these teams playing hard. The lead is going back and forth. Look at the hustle here by Imani Wright, and she'll get a great assist off this pass. 43-40, Florida State leads. We told you Tiana Mongakahia had 44 points. She was 20 for 21 from the free throw line, 8 assists. Today, her line is not like that. She's 0 for 4, 0 for 3 from 3, no points, but she does have 7 assists.
What surprises me is only 4 shot attempts, Mike. You know, this is a player that just, we saw put up huge numbers, a lot of shots attempted. She just isn't seeing herself in that role tonight.
Up with it is Ikomu. Alex can't hit it, but there's a whistle and a foul on Florida State. Fouls on Nicole Ikomu. It's her second. Mongakahia, sophomore from Australia, can't hit it. She's 0 for 5. So what, you tell her to keep shooting?
Yeah, I think you have to, especially because she's the leader on this team. You know she can score. And she really needs to just kind of put that whole 0 points behind her right now and just take over.
Well, she fights hard to come up with that steal. Whistle, the foul is going to be on Wolfuck.
You know, the zone for both teams has really slowed down the offense. You know, I think we thought we'd see more of an up and down game, especially with Florida State, but a lot of getting into, you know, sets and finding open looks in sets, a lot of passes.
Check that. That foul was on Wilkinson, 31, not 13. Syracuse, who'd been a little cold, but who do you go to when you're cold? You go to Drummond. 21.
Having a lot of success from that corner spot.
Good, strong move by Shatrice White.
You know, and Mike, I'm surprised that they don't continue to go to her because they've done it a few times. She does not have many points, but when she gets the ball down low, she is almost automatic.
Cooper, that's a really deep three. Boy, we've seen a lot of threes taken. We just haven't seen a lot of threes made today. Shatrice White, the senior. She's had some big moments in her 2 seasons at Florida State. That bucket gives the Seminoles a lead, 45-43. 4:14 to go. 3rd quarter. Still a 1-possession game here in Syracuse. What do you...
Every
Syracuse, they're 2 of the local TV news personalities here. Their dog Bear looks happy to be here, and what a great day for the dogs. Able to come in, see a game, get in free, and their owners get a bandana.
Well-behaved dogs too, Mike. I don't think we've heard a single bark.
Well, there were a few when Syracuse got up 13. They got excited.
They're big fans.
Yeah. Hey, on a cold day, you know, instead of being outside, wandering around, you get a free ticket to come inside the warm Carrier Dome.
Got to walk them anyway. Why not walk them inside here?
Inside, Shakayla Thomas can't hit it.
You see the attention that Shakayla Thomas draws. That pass, beautifully passed, I might add, was immediately double-teamed.
Cooper looked at a 3. Has that shot blocked. Good defensive play by Degbia. Speaking of Degbia, rebounded the putback. Her first field goal.
And I was literally just about to say she's been quiet, but how about Finkley and the pass by Mungakahia to find her wide open inside.
Boy, she sees the court well. Thomas in the paint. Pretty unstoppable there.
She has one of the best mid-range games I have ever seen. And I think that's why she's such a special player, because she's got the inside and the outside, but she just knows how to move.
Drummond again for 3. She's got 24. Her career high is 29. That happened back in November against Northwestern, but Miranda Drummond, wow, her threes have been money today for Syracuse.
At Toy.
This is a fun game to watch.
Mungakahia already 10 assists. That is her average. But just her first bucket of the night. She's 1 of 7, 0 for 4 from the three-point line. But I think that could be just the start to get her going.
You know what else I think has been important today is her defense. You talked about it. She's 4th in the league in steals. And she has really disrupted things at times, Florida State's offense.
Yeah, because she's got quick hands, and she's at the top of that 2-3 zone, and that's one of the most active spots in that zone. And so she can see the floor so well. She's got that point guard mind, so she knows exactly where A.J. Alex wants to pass, or any of those guards up top.
We talked about 44 on Thursday. She had 20 last Sunday in that loss you were talking about to Virginia. Here comes Amani Wright. get it to go. She's had a tough second half. And very quickly, Shakayla Thomas is back up coming in along with Nasha Wolfuck.
And Shatrice White goes out. She is still sitting with just 4 points in this game, and it was really her presence inside that I thought was going to be the difference maker in the way that Finkley would play against her. But that inside game for Florida State kind of went away.
I love the way Munka Kahia penetrates in. That ball, though, is taken away, stolen, and Munka Kahia is going to pick up the foul. She thought she had a clean steal.
Definitely trying to let the official know that she thought that was a held ball, but a good job by Florida State. Great job going up for the layup, arguing her case, but it's not going to do much. Believe me, I've tried it.
Never works,
no.
Wolfuck, boy, I tell you, Florida State has just had it tough from the line.
Yeah.
Wolfuck is an 80% free throw shooter. Florida State second in the league.
And they're just 4 of 11 right now. Make that 4 of 12. But that's one thing they do well, is go after those offensive boards. They lead the ACC in that category.
I think one key in this game is going to be Imani Wright. She had 10 at halftime. She has not scored here in this third quarter.
And Florida State's so versatile. They've had 5 different players that were the leading scorers in particular games, but we're not seeing a lot of people in the scoring column. 3 players average double digits and 2 almost.
There's Imani Wright just talking about her.
It's as if she heard you, Mike.
Right. Well, that bucket gives Florida State the lead again as we're seesawing back and forth. That time, Munka Kahia had a ball knocked away, held ball, arrow to Syracuse. We've had 5 lead changes in this third quarter. Drive a coach crazy, but it's fun for us.
On that first half wasn't what we expected. The huge lead by Syracuse early on, and Florida State just fought back.
Syracuse led by 13. I think they're singing Munka Kahia might have a little blood. And that is indeed the story, as the trainer going to work on her. She normally, as we said, doesn't come out of the game. She's 4th in the league in minutes played. Such an important part of this Syracuse team.
She plays 34 minutes a game. I just cannot believe the amount of three-point shots that Syracuse has put up. They have shot 47 shots, and of those, 29 are threes. Now, they've only made 9, and I think that has been a little bit of a maybe disappointment, although that's about their average, but they don't take that many, or at least as many as we see here.
Munka Kahia is going to have to go to the bench. Boy, not that time for Drummond. Everything has been falling. Here's Thomas. Coaches picked her to be the player of the year again this year.
Jump ball.
Held ball, arrow to Florida State. Seminoles came in 2-0 in the league. Only 1 loss, that to nationally ranked Texas. Open for the 3, but Alex not able to knock it down. And I believe Drummond is going to be whistled for the foul on Thomas.
Thomas has been all over the boards. That's 8 rebounds for her already, and I've got to guess at least 3 to 4 of those are offensive.
Good play by Alex. Couldn't finish. Degby on fighting for the rebound. Still belong to the Seminoles.
Degbian making the elementary mistake, bringing the ball down. She's a big girl. She knows the rules. You got to keep that ball high.
Shot clock is off. And that was last touch by Thomas. 27 seconds left in the quarter. Had a 1-point game at halftime. We've got a 1-point game now.
Must be ACC regular season time. A lot of fun games.
Teams are playing hard. Sometimes the shooting percentage goes down as Syracuse playing for the final shot of the quarter. Not able to hit it was Nwaji, Jasmine Nwaji. So the quarter is over. We head to the fourth. 1-point lead for Florida State on a cold day outside, but it's getting kind of warm in here in the Carrier Dome. To the fourth, you look at our game summary. Most of those 8 lead changes have come in the third quarter.
It's been a back and forth type of game. How about the free throws? You think that Coach Sue is going to look at the end of the game at that stat right there? 4 of 13 from the free throw line. How about Syracuse, though? Only shot 6.
That has been a story. But still, Florida State leads the game by a point. Seven to shoot it. Really good move and off the glass. Nwaji, second field goal today.
Just good job being patient with the ball. A lot of good ball reversals there and a beautiful shot off the backboard. You don't see that very much anymore in the women's basketball game.
6 points for Nwaji. Gave Syracuse the lead back, but now had 9 lead changes. This is going to be a fun fourth quarter. Lonnie Wright, good ball fake.
And that's exactly who they want to be shooting those shots. I think right now you've got to be looking at Shaquilla Thomas. You've got to be looking at Wright to get in positions to score.
Down at the other end, the 3 from Isis Young. That is her first field goal today.
And what a time to get it, too, in this fourth quarter that we anticipate to be big. And A.J. Alex dribbles the ball off her foot.
Isis Young, the transfer from Florida, hits an awfully big 3.
That corner has been wide open, and it often is against that 2-3 zone. The thing about when you play a team that plays the very same defense you do and you practice every game, you know what's open, and those are shots inside the paint and those corner looks.
Nikki Nkomu with the foul. Hey, don't forget, this is just the first game of the doubleheader. This game is great. I think the next game is going to be just as good. Duke and NC State coming up next.
NC State 3 straight wins against the Blue Devils, who are looking at an uncharacteristic 0-2 start already in the ACC.
Just been a tough day for Monga Kahia offensively. Still double digits in assists. She's now 1 for 8 from the field.
And it'll be interesting to see if Syracuse can pull out a win with her not being up on that scoring column.
Alex, the other end, nails the 3. Big shot for A.J. Alex. 41% on the year from behind the arc.
9 points for her, 5 assists already in this game.
That shot gave Florida State the lead back. Oh, what a pass. What a pass. Drummond on the receiving end of it. Munga Kahia. Wow.
The dribble behind the back and then finds Drummond, who cuts to the basket so well. Drummond has just had an outstanding day so far. 26 points, 5 of 10 from the three-point line, 10 of 6 from the field.
And again, she's got a chance at a career day. Her career high is 29. She's got 27.
She had that against Northwestern. She had 25 against Vandy. So she's a gamer. I love players that play their best against good teams.
That was Munga Kahia's 12th assist in the game, by the way.
And remember, she had 17 against Vanderbilt early on this season.
Big rebound by Nawaji, who has played well in recent possessions.
Nawaji, the transfer from Wagner. This girl can flat out score at 53 points in a game against Sacred Heart.
Boy, Q really getting intense now.
That's what I love about him.
And why not? This is an intense game. 6 to shoot, and Munga Kahia had a pass that Finkley just couldn't handle.
And I like the look. I think that jump pass over her head was just a little bit too hard for the hands of Finkley.
Digna Stropman is back in the game now for Syracuse, number 45. She's not had one of her best games today. Thomas Stropman, I thought, affected that shot. And she's got the rebound. She got a stern talking to from Quentin Hillsman. And that last possession might have been a result of it.
Yeah, and she's just a freshman. You know, she's one of the players in this class that he had been so excited about. And the fact that she was able to come in and play right away says a lot about her ability.
Digna Stropman threw it away that time, and she got more words from
Yeah, I was just going to say, we heard her name from over here, Mike. Leads the league, though, in blocks per game.
And still might have something to say about the outcome of this one. Thomas. Drummond, who's done it at both ends, down with the rebound.
Munga Kahia just looks different than she does in the games that I've watched. Usually, she is much more aggressive to the basket.
Stropman, who can hit the three, has made one today, missed that one. Drummond, just tied her career high.
Beautiful lay in there.
And I believe that's the first 2-possession lead of the second half. Right, and Stropman comes up with the steal. Sometimes you just got to talk to a freshman. Munga Kahia on the drive. You know, we're early, but this is conference play. You play at a different level. Who wants it? This game very much in doubt. Both teams playing hard. A 4-point lead for Syracuse.
Did you
send you down to Durham, Cameron Indoor Stadium. As you can see, Duke and NC State on the court. And warming up, State and Duke coming up next. Should be a great game. I think one of the keys in that game is going to be Lexi Brown. Boy, has she been scoring this year, except for the last game at Louisville, she only had 8 points. So she's hoping to do what she was doing before Thursday's game at Louisville, but it's going to be a great game. Evan Lepler, Chelsea Shine Wilson I'll be there to call it for you. We'll be sending you to Durham right after this game is over.
Rebecca Greenwell actually only needs 2 threes to become the all-time leading three-point shooter at Duke, which says a lot when you think about the history in Cameron Indoor.
Right now, we're going to have a great finish to this game. 4-point Syracuse lead. And a travel. Calling Amaya Finkley. I think the possessions are starting to get important for Florida State. They've gone 3 minutes now without a field goal. That's enabled Syracuse to take a 4-point lead.
Yeah, and you're watching Syracuse really slow the ball down. They are not worried about speeding this game up at all. The possession, they think they want to slow it, I mean, make very long possessions if they can.
A.J. Alex to Thomas. There you go. Foul's going to be on Drummond. It's her third. Tough time getting it in. Both teams playing so hard. Stroutman down with it, and Drummond grabbing that knee. Boy, she's in a little bit of pain.
Leading scorer for the day, 29 points, 5 of 10 from the three-point line. You'll see her on the defensive side contesting that three-point shot, and it comes afterward. Probably just put a foot down on the foot of the offensive player.
Yeah, let's hope she's going to be okay. What a game she's had today. 29 points, ties her career high, as we've said, and they will miss her offense if she's not able to go in this last 4:08.
Nawaji in the lineup for her. Another tremendous shooter. Let's see if Mungakia takes over.
Mungakia is 1 for 9, 0 for 5 from 3. But you're right, they'll need her to step up a little if Drummond's not able to go down the stretch here. Almost a pass directly to Kelly Deo.
I was ready. My hands were up.
I saw that.
So back-to-back turnovers for both teams. Mungakia, the bad pass out of bounds, and then the pressure just too much for Florida State. They turned it over in the full court.
Discussion amongst our 3 officials, and if they've got it right. Turnover's been pretty even today. Syracuse 17, Florida State 16.
Before the game, Mike, Q told us they needed to limit turnovers and make sure that they could rebound the ball. Turnovers have been a little dicey.
I think the issue here is the shot clock. Not sure it started on that last possession.
So here's the full court pressure by Syracuse. You know, and I'm not sure that Shaquilla Thomas touched the ball. If she did, there would indeed be a a second off, but they do add 1 second to the game clock.
In a game like this, you might need an extra second. Again, Miranda Drummond and her 29 points are on the bench with an ankle injury. Munga Kahia, 1 for 9. And good news for Syracuse. Miranda Drummond is coming back into the game. And you can hear that loud round of applause. Stroutman up. Drummond's open. Oh, she's still hot.
Did you see her look away like she was about to pass to the corner?
She was thinking, I just came in the game. I might have a bad ankle. Should I shoot it? Miranda, the answer is yes.
That's right. And continue to shoot it for the remainder of this game.
Largest lead of the second half. Florida State has gone cold.
Syracuse, the advantage of the clock.
Now, if you're Syracuse, you are going to get down to that final 10 seconds of the clock. 5 to shoot it. Munga Kahia, the kick out. Drummond for 3. A career day for Miranda Drummond. Oh, my goodness.
So it doesn't matter if your leading scorer only has 2 points. When you've got a player like Drummond who can fill it up.
The drought for Florida State's over 5 minutes. But my goodness, Drummond can't miss.
I mean, you saw it right there, right? Just the almost look away, like she was going to pass it. She hits that one and then gets the pass from her point guard to drain that 3 as well. Just
7
another day.
for 12 from 3. 31 points.
It reminds me a lot, honestly, of the game that Florida State played against UNC. Because Wright was just as on fire. They kept on going to her. She kept on scoring. We saw that in the first half, Mike, but she just didn't show up in this second half.
And the free throw woes continue. Degmion makes 1 of 2. Florida State is just 40% from the line today. 75%, second best in the league on the year. A.J. Alex got to roll. That's a big bucket, and it breaks an over 5-minute field goal drought. Still plenty of time if you're a Seminole. 2-possession game. Munga Kahia was trapped, and Quentin Hillsman was able to get a timeout. 1:58 to go. 66-60. Going to be some finish here in Syracuse. Please. 9-point lead.
There is the pass by Stroutman. My question is, how do you not have somebody on Drummond this entire game? She is wide open on that 3-point line.
Thomas fouled on her way to the bucket. You were a great player at Notre Dame. Do you just have some days where you just simply feel it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, I think it helps, too, when you've got a player like Tiana Munga Kahia who can get you the ball when you're open for good shots.
Digna Stratmana has just fouled out. Here's Drummond in this second half. She's been awesome.
8 for 13 from the 3-point line, 14 of 20 from the field. I mean, that's a pretty amazing percentage right there. 38 points for her, 2 assists. couple steals, 5 rebounds.
How about 18 in the first half, 20 points in the second half. She's been the difference maker.
And she led the team in scoring 2 games ago. And then obviously that 44-point performance by Munga Kahia really helped change things around. But she's a player that has often led this team in scoring.
Florida State trying to trap as time is quickly now becoming a factor. By the way, I talked about Digna Stropman just fouling out. That's a second consecutive game she has fouled out. There you see her on the bench.
And you tend to see that from a freshman. You know, I remember Ruth Riley was our center, and there were a lot of games that she just couldn't stay in a game because she'd make some silly fouls, and by the time she got to be a senior, that was erased.
I was getting ready to say, she eventually went down as one of the greatest players in the history of Notre Dame basketball.
She changed her ways.
Yeah. 1:28 left. 9-point lead for Syracuse. They've got the ball. And a fresh 30.
Florida State trying to foul. Looks like.
Seconds winding down. Munga Kahia done a great job of dribbling through that double team, I thought.
She split those defenders. I'm just surprised that the foul didn't come quicker. If the intention was to foul, why let so many seconds come off that clock?
So Tiana Munga Kahia. Now, we talk about all the things that she's done great. Munga Kahia is an 87% free throw shooter. That's who you want on the line if you're Syracuse at this point of the game.
So 4 points for the sophomore, following up a 44-point performance. Who would have thought that she would only come up with 4 so far?
But you know what? I think Tiana would be the first to tell you, I don't care if it's 4 or 44, as long as we win.
And I think she's more comfortable as a pass-first point guard.
1:02 left here, and don't forget, coming up after our game, NC State at Duke, Cameron Indoor in Durham. State's had Duke's number a little bit over the last year or so. And Duke started out 0-2 in the ACC. That hasn't happened. 92-93 was the last time that happened.
Duke with a tremendous defense. They lead the conference and are 6th in the country in scoring defense, holding teams to just 53 points. So Chelsea Nelson and committee for NC State definitely have a lot to figure out in terms of how to get some points on the board.
And again, we'll be sending you to Durham as soon as this game is over. Alex can't hit it. And under a minute to play, it's beginning to look more and more like a Syracuse win. And I think this would be a huge, huge win for Syracuse.
And Q said, if you had told me early on in the season that we'd be 13-3 and maybe 14-3, as a nice 3 drains were right, he said he would have been shocked with the youth on this team. And so he is as impressed as anybody at the way his kids have performed.
And the story today has been Miranda Drummond, 38 points, 20 in the second half. You know, and I've kept an eye on her. She's still limping a little bit. She's just gutting it out here at the end of the game. A few minutes ago, turned that ankle, had to go out for a brief time. And look who's at the line again. Munga Kahia. A rare miss. I know a number of you are tuning in to watch Duke at NC State. We'll be sending you to Durham very quickly. Under a minute to play here, and Syracuse leading Florida State 72-63.
Syracuse has applied that full court pressure for this entire game, Mike.
For Florida State, this will be their first loss in the league. They'll go to 2-1 as Munga Kahia is hit hard.
You could hear just her angst from here. She was hit in the face.
In some pain. Boy, both these teams playing so hard.
She went up for that rebound. I thought was an impressive grab. Look at that over Alex, and then you hear the screams. Just got hit. And it's Shatrice White's hand, I think, as she's coming in to try to grab that ball. She got hit above the eye.
And I think Isis Young's going to come in and will take the free throws. You know, anytime you take a blow to in the head area, and all these trainers are so careful.
All set. 2 shots.
Isis Young will shoot the free throws, 2 free throws. And I was saying Florida State will go to 2-1 and Syracuse will go to 2-2. There's a long way to go in this ACC regular season, but it is sure going to be fun.
Oh, that's why
January, February.
That's why this is the best conference in women's basketball, because you've got scenarios like this that can happen on any given day. Doesn't matter what you're ranked in the country, you come in and play somebody else, you may get a loss.
Trying to take threes, and Raven Fox is fouled by Imani Wright. 24 seconds left, 10-point lead for Syracuse. They led by 13 in the first half, but Florida State came storming back. It was a 1-point game at halftime. The third quarter saw a number of lead changes. As you take a look at Munga Kahia. And again, I know a lot of you tuning in for Duke and NC State. We'll be sending you there as soon as this game is over. Another big ACC battle.
Florida State's guards were what we expected. 12, 12, and 17 for Wright. But it was the post play that I think really lacked in this game. And I think Sue Semrau will get her posts back on the right page coming into their game this next week.
Quentin Hillsman came all the way out to midcourt. Upset with that foul. With 16 seconds left, that's the last thing you want to do.
They've extended the coaching box, and Quentin Hillsman taking full advantage of the space he's been given.
You saw this is his 21st win against a top 25 team.
Take it out. I got 25.
Wright will be the leading scorer today for Florida State.
And they took Munga Kahia back to the locker room.
Imani Wright is fouled out.
Sue Semrau with her first loss in ACC play was 2-0 coming into the game.
Wright fouls out with 20 points. And Gabby Cooper to the line for Syracuse.
Gabby Cooper, the only starter from last season's team. Of course, Syracuse lost Sykes, Butler, Alexis Peterson, the Day sisters. He has reloaded.
Final seconds here. So Syracuse is going to come away with a 76-69 win. That'll do it here. We send you down to Durham. Big game, State and Duke. And we're ready to go to Cameron Indoor.
Due to the length of the previous program, we now join the following program already in progress.